sexual violence by an
study.
Okay. Okay. You okay? Are you all right?
Yes, I'm fine.
Rajesh, what happened to some of the books that were being written for MB?
Shantini, you can start.
Back everyone for the last session of the day on the topic equalization of opportunities for accessing educational, vocational, nutritional and health services. So it's time to invite the resource person of this session, Dr. Nivedita Patnaik, Head Department of Special Education, Secunderabad. So Madam has joined as faculty in special education in NIMH in the year 1990 as a teaching cum rehabilitation professional in the field of intellectual disability. So Madam is involved in teaching and coordinating HRD programs, clinical and consultancy services, extension and outreach programs. She also established authenticity of various practices, have actively participated in research and development. She also completed two research projects, and she carried out extension and outreach programs to create awareness on intellectual disability and empowerment of persons with intellectual disability in different parts of the country, and also organized various programs at national as well as international levels and published and presented papers in national, international journals and in conferences. Now, Madam is heading as Department of Special Education in NIPET. We are honored to have you as resource person for this session, ma'am. Without taking much of your time, over to you, and hope the participants will get much knowledge from your session, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Special thanks to the organizer and dear Rajesh for inviting. I do not know how much justice I can do, but I'll try my level best because not much I have done, though a few dissertation I have guided in the area of women with disability issues. So I try to put some of my own experiences while guiding the students for the persons with intellectual disability very specifically. So can I start with the presentation?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Are you able to see the screen?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
I think some support. Yes, ma'am. Screen is not seen.
We share the screen.
I have shared it. I forgot to switch off the video first.
I'll do that. Let me switch off the video. एक मिनट. एक मिनट वो पीपीटी मिनिमाइज करके रख देंगे.
है ना नीचे? Not that. This one. हाँ.
नहीं एक मिनट.
No, not this.
अभी राहुल सर डाउनलोड किए ना?
That I shared in fact.
Yeah, this.
Maybe this one.
डेट दिए थे हम लोग.
This one.
Let me one here.
This one.
Okay. अभी पूछिए मैम।
पूछो। Are you able to see this PPT
Yes,
now?
Yes.
Yes, yes,
Yes, so we can go ahead.
yes.
Okay. I was given the topic on equalization of opportunities for accessing services by women with intellectual disabilities. As we know, in general, people with disabilities, they're facing a lot of barriers and they're struggling for equality. All the people with disability, they have the problem. That is the reason non-discrimination has been emphasized by all the acts and policies, legislations everywhere. But when we are talking about the issue of these struggles, these obstacles, because of the disabilities, we find that women with disabilities are at a greater disadvantageous position because of dual discrimination based on their gender as well as disability. It has been recognized that women with disability may be particularly at risk due to stigma associated with both gender and disability, and more likely to suffer from discrimination than women or men without disability. It is a known fact that, as such, in our society, particularly Indian society, which is mostly male-dominated society, women are to some extent bit suppressed. Sorry to say this in front of all the male members, but that is the fact. Though we have overcome most of the things, this type of issues due to the urbanization of the thing, still it is prevailing in our Indian societies, both in rural India as well as in urban India. And it is because of the inbuilt mechanism of our societal system. So women are suppressed. It is more so when a girl child is born with disability or is acquiring disability in due process. And this discrimination deprives women with disability of fundamental rights and equality of opportunity. Though right from our constitution, we are talking about equality, equal opportunities for both men and women, for all the races, gender, everything. Still, we are unable to rule out all these issues. Though Article 6 of UNCRPD states government should recognize that women and girls with disability face multiple discrimination, and government should ensure that women with disability can enjoy their rights in full, and government should do everything possible to empower them, it is not truly implemented, particularly in a country like India. Not only in the UNCRPD, followed by UNCRPD, we have our RPWD Act, where Chapter 2 has emphasized elaborately on equality, for ensuring equality for women and children with disability, to provide equal opportunity in Chapter 2. Even our Indian Strategy Goal 6 has emphasized on ensuring gender equality and women empowerment. Truly speaking, when we are coming to the facts, we are not finding this as happening. So many of the girls with disability as well as women with disability, they are deprived of many of the benefits which they're supposed to receive in the society. They're deprived of education, health and hygiene, training and employment. It starts from home itself. The family itself is not allowing the children, girl children, and specifically if the child is having some disabling condition, then mostly the family members don't want to send the child for education. Even if they are having any health issue, that is also neglected or ignored. Not given proper clothing which is neat and tidy, not giving proper place to sleep, proper bed to rest for maintaining the hygienic condition. Forget about the training and employment. And of course, in the present scenario, many of the girls and women, they come for the training to the educational institute, to the vocational training institute for their education, but most of them are deprived of such training. Even if they receive training for any kind of vocational training they're receiving, when it comes to employability, the percentage of women being employed is very, very low as compared to their men counterpart. There is lack of empowerment. Though Act says women empowerment is important, we are unable to empower the women. We are unable to develop capacity in them so that they will be self-reliant tomorrow. They'll be on their own. They're deprived of being included in the process of decision making, even at the personal level, right from family itself. When something is purchased, some food is given to a girl child with disability, they're never asked whether they like it or not. If they don't like, then they won't be given that also. For selection of their clothes, selection of the accessories, never they are asked. Why for the woman with disability? We can think about the women in general in our Indian society. They have very less voice in decision making at the family level. There is lack of accessible public amenities and poor maintenance of public spaces that pose threat to women with disabilities. So not only their life is at very low pace for education and training and employment, but also they're victimized, they're abused because of our environmental condition also. And it is a threat to women with disabilities. Lack of proper lighting is a hindrance to their mobility and safety. Lack of or poor state of public toilets that poses danger of sexual assault. And whatever is happening to women with disabilities specifically are not coming into the notice of the main, to the limelight for very many reasons. So this disability is going invisible without getting any attention, any focus in the policy making or in the government level when some decisions are taken. Many a time they are also abused due to the unfriendly assistive devices. On the top of everything is the attitude of the people, where the family members are also included. Their attitude toward the rights of the woman with disability or girl child with disability is not very positive. And all this are due to lack of awareness and insensitivity of the people in general, of the entire society. When we are thinking about equalization, first we have to overcome all these issues and try to see how best we can try to set right the condition. Of course, we know that it's not that easy to set right the condition, but we have to try to see that we can reduce the impact, the negative or the adverse impact on the activities of the women with disability. When we are talking about the reduction of or the intervention strategies, we have to think about the comprehensive service models.
Ma'am, are you there? Your mic is muted, ma'am.
Ma'am, your mic is muted, ma'am. I don't hear.
Ma'am, your mic is muted, ma'am. Can you please unmute yourself? Dear participant,
It's muted.
I need
Can't hear.
then she will join us soon.
Is it okay now?
Yes, ma'am.
Was it from the very beginning?
No, ma'am, from the model slides. From the models. Social models.
But I didn't do anything. Are you able to see? Are you able to see?
Yes, ma'am.
We can see that, but
Okay. So am I audible now?
yes, ma'am, you're audible. Yes,
From
ma'am.
here,
நீ அவங்க நம்பர்ல போன் நம்ம அட்டன் பண்ண வேண்டியது இல்ல
can I go ahead?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Yeah. Yeah, we discussed about some of the challenges in front of us and how we can reduce the challenges and address to the key issues. As already I informed anyway, I have to start it from the model. We have to provide the comprehensive services. As all of us are aware that disability is an issue. It is a condition where a single discipline cannot do justice if we are trying to provide any kind of services. So we have to pull the sources, pull the support system from different areas and then try to provide proper services or comprehensive services to the persons with disability. And as the identification lies with the medical field, we have to involve the medical professionals in the process of identification. And when a child is brought with some signs or some suspected symptoms of disability, it is necessary to identify and give the proper referral for this next services. And mostly we know that when there is any condition of disability is observed, it is a mild condition. Usually it goes unnoticed by the parents. Very specifically, if it is noticed by the parents and the child is a girl child, in many of the cases, particularly in our rural setup, they are not taken to the concerned professional because the stigma which is attached to gender as well as disability. So here comes the role of a counselor. We need psychological services. We have to create awareness. We have to create awareness among the family members for a broader interest, for a wider interest, because if the disabling condition persists for a longer period of time, it is not only the burden for the family members, it is a burden also for the society at large. And we need to see that how fast and how much we can prevent the development of secondary issues or further complications. That has to be explained to the family members, and for which we require a counselor who can provide family counseling to bring the child to the concerned professional, not only the medical professional. And when we are talking about medical, also paramedical professionals are involved. And as we are aware that the childhood is the most important period, that is the critical period when all type of development will take place at a faster rate. So all the therapeutic services need to be provided at an early age, as soon as the problem is identified. And obviously, we know that even if we are not placing the child to a school directly, still we require educational training and support. So the role of an educator or a special educator is very important when we are confronting with the disability issue. depending on the condition, depending on the level of disability. Even for the girl child, we have to provide appropriate educational services as per the requirement of the person concerned, and where focus needs to be given on various aspects, which is not sufficient. Educational and training along with the vocational training is important, and when slowly gradually they are growing older, we have to build capacity, we have to empower the woman with disability. And apart from this, we have to involve the social agencies or social network system in order to create proper awareness among different service providers as well as general public, to see that the life of the person with disability is going smoothly and they're enjoying all the rights without any violence, without any exploitation or abuse. And the most important thing which we are emphasizing is infrastructural facilities. In order to have better access, in order to help the woman with disability to have access to all the buildings, all the places where a person with or without disability can have access, we also should provide that opportunity to the person with disability, basically to the woman with disability. We have seen what are the key challenges which are in front of us, and for what strategies we can have to promote equalization. Until and unless we start working from the very beginning by taking into confidence the family members and all the other agencies who will come forward to support us, probably we cannot ensure gender equality. So to begin with, we have to provide proper education and training to the person with disability, to the woman with disability on the functional skills wherever necessary, wherever they are competent enough to go for proper education system because of the type of disabling condition. If the woman has orthopedically impairment or having visual impairment or hearing impairment, they can go for higher education also. But to begin with, we have to emphasize on the literacy and the functional skill training to them so that they can be independent in their day-to-day functioning. And minimum functional literacy, apart from the functional skills I'm talking about what are necessary to be more adaptive in the society, to adjust to the society, like well-dressed person, having proper personal hygiene, having proper interactional skills. All this will come under functional skills. Apart from that, also we have to encourage literacy among the women with disability. Functional literacy only can help them to have access to information, which is not available with most of the women with disability due to some reason or other. So, and as part of educational program, we have to have sexuality education. Most of the abuses, the exploitation are happening because our girl children and women with disability we never provide sexuality education to them as part of their education, which will enable them to understand the sex organs, the process of growth, and the environment, to assess the environment which is safe environment, to avoid themselves from any kind of risk, to seek help from the others, to have proper communication skills, to seek help from others, to understand differences in the familiar person and unfamiliar person, good touch, bad touch, all these things are very important, which has to be included in our curriculum to help our women with disability, to help them avoid untoward situations. And self-advocacy training to voice their rights. We know that in the rural India, many a time the women with disabilities are confined to their home only, or maximum to the neighborhood, which make them invisible. That is the reason many of the studies also are conducted where there is nothing mentioned about what are the problems the women with disabilities they are facing, because that goes invisible, it goes very silently suppressed in the family. So we have to take initiative to provide self-advocacy training by which they can voice their rights. And all this training needs to be provided with all the equipments, accessories within an affordable cost. Many a time the girl children are not sent to the school or higher education because of cost of education. As the parents feel that after marriage, the girl child has to go to somebody else's house, or she is girl, she is woman, there is nothing to do with the education, she only has to look after the household things. If the training cost will be minimum, then probably after counseling, after orientation to the family members, they'll be in a position to send the girls with disability for the training program, for the training at different level. Capacity building and empowerment. We are providing education, we are providing vocational training, pre-vocational training, different type of training, but we are unable to build up their capacity. We are unable to empower the women with disability because of the soft training skills which are provided to them, because of the dominance of the male members in the family, because of the societal views. Yes? Any problem? Are you? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Am I audible? Okay, can I go ahead?
Yes, ma'am.
I heard some sound, that's the reason I stopped. So we have to see that how best we can build the capacity and empower the women with disability, so that tomorrow also they will contribute as the citizen of the country, and that will enhance the GDP of the entire nation. We have to provide them information on available services. First of all, the family members many a time are not aware of the services which are available for the persons with disability. थोड़ी देर की बात करती हूँ. Okay. due to unawareness about the services, parents don't send the children for giving training. So first we have to orient and educate the family members about the available services, particularly for the girl children. Not only that, when we are providing education and training to the woman with disability or girl child with disability, we have to give them strategies to access different services. Nowadays, many of the services we can get through online. But this online learning is not possible for many of our women with disabilities. We don't give that type of training. We ourselves are unaware of the advancement of technology. But we have to make it a point that since there is some disabling condition in the woman, which may lead to restriction in mobility, we have to give them strategies, we have to give them accessories and tools through which they can access to services online or through the simple means by sitting at home or going to the nearby centers, neighborhood centers type. Many a time the abuse, the assault take place due to lack of mobility. So mobility training is very important for most of the persons with disability. It can be having ID, intellectual disability, or orthopedically handicapped, visual impairment, or any sort of disability. The mobility as per their condition needs to be provided so that accessibility will be easy for them. And we have to make it compulsory for ICT training. Vocational training is necessary to promote employability, but many of the girls or adults, women specifically with disability, even after obtaining vocational training, they remain unemployed at home, remain unengaged at home, which cause huge loss not only to the family members but also to the vocational training center and at large to the entire society, the government setup. So we have to see how best we can promote employability. And many a time the parents don't want to send their wards, specifically women with disability, for the employment due to the unsafe environment, due to the problem in transportation, which can cause any kind of untoward happenings. And the timings of the employment setup, even the persons themselves in the employment, that environment may not be aware of the condition of these people. So it can lead to any kind of problem for them, for which parents themselves don't try to send the people, for which we have to find some alternative before we create awareness in the society at large. We have to see how best we can provide some kind of employment to the women with disability, which is possible through self-employment, engaging them in the employment at home or with the support of family members, or we can give also training and skills need to be developed among the women with disability to form self-help groups, which will not only give them support in earning their livelihood, but also it helps them in forming a group which will act as the self-advocacy group and which can voice their rights, which can reach to the highest authority, even it can go to the level of policymakers in order to see that, in order to make them understand, make them feel that there is a group which is not properly attended to. There is a group of people who are not given their rights in spite of the constitutional provision, in spite of the acts and policies and various legislations nationally and internationally. So we must give them the skills to have their own self-help groups. It's not only necessary to have capacity building, to develop the capacity of the persons, women with disability, but also we have to strengthen the service providers. Many a time we find the problems lies with this service providers. Not intentionally they do anything, but unintentionally it happens due to so many reasons. First of all, we have to give the technical know-how for dealing with the persons with disability, to transacting the curriculum, to providing the services, required services to women with disability, and also to have proper coordination and networking with different service agencies who are also providing services, to avoid duplicacy and to strengthen the quality services for women with disability, because it is a very sensitive issue where we have to see that sometimes the problems are delineated from the service providers, which has to be prevented. So we also have to give them knowledge to improve sensitivity to the issue. Managing or dealing with the persons, women with disability, with due concern, along with their technical knowledge, and with proper respect. They have to be given proper treatment without hurting the self, without hurting the self-respect of the woman with disability. So we need to strengthen the service providers in this manner to develop the self aspect of the person as well as the technical aspect of the person concerned. The most important thing which can change the scenario is awareness creation. All of us are saying that we are aware of disability issue right from the person who is facing the problem or who is providing services in different institute to the top level bureaucrats, policymakers. Everybody is telling we are aware of disability issue, but somewhere there is a lacuna, somewhere there is a gap where we are unable to make out and we are unable to see that we are giving the proper services. When we are creating awareness about this issue, we have to address to the issue of disability and gender, how the women with disability are the victims of dual disabling condition due to the social stigma and due to the disabling condition, and for which they are not responsible. It is not at their fault. By default, they belong to the gender, that is the woman gender. By default, they acquired the disability or they're born with the disability. So they had no right on that. They had no hand to change it, but they are facing the problem. So we have to see that right from the identification and referral services. We cannot discriminate between boy and girl when it comes to the disability issue, as we know that this issue, if is not addressed at the time of identification, can be a broader issue and it affects the entire society. We need to understand that. We need to make the family members understand that, and the top level policymakers should understand that. So that should be a proper monitoring system also. The issues pertaining to disability and gender, specifically identification, referral services, acts, policies, schemes, and benefits, people should be aware of it so that we will know where they should be going, and the person at the reception should give the proper information, give the proper dealings to the women with disability when they are approaching for any kind of services. And creation of awareness has to be at family level, community level, and society level at large. Many of the family members, though they are aware of the condition, they are not aware of many of the information for which they don't come forward, and sometimes they do not have the accessories, they do not have the facilities, or they do not have the resources to reach to the place. So it is the responsibility of the government to provide them the resources, create awareness as well as provide the resources so that they can reach to the right person to see that the child or the person with disability is getting proper services. And the best area of creating awareness is community level. They are the people who really come for help at any kind of emergency. If we are really creating awareness in the community, then definitely the services can reach the needy person, and maximum level of victimization, the exploitation, violence can be reduced by creating awareness in the community level. For awareness creation at society level means we have to see that where the policies are made, it should be proper, having proper sensitivity to the gender issues. Many times while talking something also, we hurt the person with disability, specifically women with disability. When we do not have a particular thing in our hand, and if we are told that you don't have that, you are unable to do this, we feel very bad. So we must understand that to whom we are talking to, how we need to address their issue. And as all of us are aware that accessibility is affected, many a time the persons with disability, they are unable to enjoy their fundamental rights because of improper infrastructure which we are having. We must try to adopt universal design in all the buildings, private as well as public. And we must focus specifically on the public places, which are the sensitivity spots, restrooms, traveling points like bus stop, railway station, rehabilitation centers, tourist places. All these places, we must allow the women with disability to have their access. Apart from that, all the buildings and all the technological environment where they want to go, they must visit, they must go there, must access the services there. So we have to see that they are getting proper infrastructural facilities which is disabled friendly. And many a time we are finding the difficult situation because of the unfriendly nature of the assistive devices. We know that take the example of a wheelchair. We have wheelchair for adults, we have wheelchair for children, but there is no in-between wheelchair for the woman. And many a time we cannot adjust it also. Not like a walker, we adjust it. So because of the unfriendly assistive devices, they face lot of problem and abuse many a time. We have to see that the assistive devices which are being provided to the women with disability to ease their life, for the comfort of their life, need to be customized, need to be user friendly, so that they will not face any difficulties by using the assistive device, which is supposed to assist them in their functional activities. So while giving it, we must see that whether or not it is really assisting them to do the functioning, and in between maintenance also are to be monitored by a proper government or private system, so that all the people who are receiving these facilities will be benefited. We know that no one size fits all. Still we are providing one size, and we are telling that you cut yourself. When we are having a dress, a kurti, which is very tight. Are we able to cut ourselves? Should there be a cut in the kurti, or there will be a cut in our body portion? So we must see that the assistive devices is like the garment for them. So the devices need to be managed properly or provided properly, or it has to be adjustable for the need of the person concerned for whom we are giving. Okay. There are many more facilities which are being provided, which is not very much conducive for the person, for the woman with disability, specifically the schools, the rehabilitation centers where they are going. Many of the places, they do not have the proper restroom facilities. And if we are traveling, we are not finding proper restrooms. So it has to be created in order to see that we have also a different group of people. All of us are not same. So when we are providing the facilities to one group, that is injustice to the other group. We must understand that all of us are different, and as per our differences, our individual differences, we are getting the benefits from the government, from the society. So why can't our counterpart, even if they are having some disability, why can't they have access to the similar facilities which we are getting? No two persons can be same. Keeping that in mind, we have to see how best we can create the infrastructure facility, keeping in mind the universal design, which will be accessible for all. If we'll talk about the gender equality, equalization of opportunities in different area, I think we need many things to discuss, but due to time constraint, I didn't take much. At the end, I can say only this much. To address the gender issues, it is necessary to understand the social role of women and men, both with and without disabilities. We are not trying to take the right perspective. If we'll try to understand what is the role of the particular person concerned, then probably we'll be able to understand the gender issues in a better manner, particularly for women with disabilities. So for which we have to properly study the role of women and men, both with and without disabilities. The exclusion experience by women with disability is not simply a woman issue, but a social issue that needs to be addressed from the point of view of the society at large. Individual level, institute level, probably we cannot discuss and we cannot find a solution for everything. We have to consider the issue. We must see that there is an issue. There are challenges for women with disability. We cannot leave them invisible. And if we try to wear the shoes of the other person, then only we'll understand what is that issue. So in order to understand this issue properly, we have to consider at a larger forum, at a larger society, and see to solve the problem at the society level, not at our institute or individual level. Thank you so much. Yes, I think I have completed my portion. If there is any issue,
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for your valuable presentation. Shall we go for question answer session, ma'am?
yes.
Sure. Thank you, ma'am. So, dear participants, if you have any doubts, you can put it in the chat box or you can ask madam. Dear participants, if you have any questions, you can put it in the chat box and we will send you the assessment link after the question answer session.
हेलो सर, असेसमेंट लिंक का कब सेंड कर रहे हो? शेयर द असेसमेंट लिंक.
Sure, sir. We will share the assessment link after the session ends. Just wait for a few more minutes. Ma'am, I think there is no questions from participants end. Sir, shall we conclude the session, sir?
Okay, if there are no questions as such, and I think we can conclude, and it is really wonderful to listen to Nivedita madam. I'm listening. We used to listen during our PMR class lectures from Nivedita madam. Now I'm listening again. It's always pleasure to listen to Nivedita madam. You can, Shantini, you can formally.
Thank you, Rajesh.
Thank you, madam.
Thanks for your humility.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining us today for this one session, and looking forward for your support in the future also, ma'am. Once again, thank you so much from the participants end also. And dear participants, the assessment link is posted in the chat box. I request everyone to attend the assessment test, and once you have attended the assessment, you can leave the session.
Thank you so much. Thanks all the participants, the organizer, and special thanks to Mr. Dr. Rajesh. Thank you, Rajesh.
Thank you, ma'am.
Can I leave now?
Yes, ma'am, you can.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So dear participants, the assessment link is in the chat box. So you can answer for all the questions. Once you have attended your assessment, you can leave the session and join us by 10 a.m. tomorrow for tomorrow's session.
Shantini, you can stop recording.
Okay, sir.